Hey everybody, it's Carol with Refunction Crafts, and today I am going to bring something different to you guys. I have these little things that I bought actually a couple of years ago, and they're just like little wooden poker chip sized little doodads, and they've got this little pattern printed out of them, and as you can see at the top, each one has a circle so that you can turn this into a keychain or a purse charm. You could turn it into really a whole lot of things. The possibilities are endless with these things. Ornaments, Christmas tree ornaments, and these would be really cute for like a small Christmas tree. But anyway, I thought, you know, I had made some in the past, and these are actually some that I made last year, I think, and I never ever showed them to anybody. I never sold them. I never did anything. I made them and I put them away. And why I did that, I cannot say. Now I'm turning into green eggs and ham. Anyway, you guys, so like this one has little bumblebees and a little wishing weed in the middle. I call them wishing weeds. I don't know what everybody else calls them. And then these are little gnomes. And aren't they adorable? And so these I put a bunch of rhinestones around them. Maybe that's why I didn't do anything with them. I thought, oh gosh, I rhinestoned these out. Maybe not everybody wants them to be rhinestoned out, but I'm going to finish these ones up as well, because actually I remember what it was now. The resin that I had used on these was a different kind of resin. And so all of these had, and I think this is one I haven't redone. I think there's one that I haven't redone anyway. I don't know, maybe yeah, this one I didn't. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but they had little bubbles in them. You can see how uneven this resin is. They have little bubbles, and they just didn't look good. This one, you can see it actually has a bubble underneath the resin right there. You can't hardly see it, but it's there. If there's a bubble up under, and I did a couple of these yesterday, and I got the same thing that happened. And you got to be so careful. See, when I turn it this way, you guys can see there and there and there. I have sort of the same thing going on. That's a bubble, that's a bubble, and that's a bubble. And I was very, very disappointed in myself for allowing that to happen, because this is really beautiful. And I will probably do something with this. Maybe I'll throw it into somebody's package or something, but I won't try to sell this one for sure. It also happened to this one. I've only got two that this has happened to so far, and that was my own boo-boo. And what I did was I had put these images down, and I didn't Mod Podge over the top of them. I thought, oh, they'll be fine. Well, I realized I started looking at, I think it was this one, and I started seeing bubbles come up from the paper. And I thought, oh no, you know, and they wouldn't stop. I couldn't get them to stop. So my fault. So I'm going to put these aside. This is another one that I did that really turned out gorgeous. And this one I've added resin to the top, and you can see there's not a single bubble in it. It's super clear. And I'm going to tell you guys, the resin that I got from Temu, it's called Hard Glue UV Curable Resin Solution, and it's odorless, high transparency, and anti-yellowing resin. So those three things alone made me curious to try this, and I thought, you know, I'm spending a lot of money on resin, and it's very expensive. If you're doing a lot of it, which I am right now, it's very expensive. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna try this, And I did, and my word, you guys, I showed you guys the crosses that I recently did in my last video. Those crosses came out absolutely 100% clear as clear can be, and they are gorgeous, you guys. I don't know if you could tell by the video. You know, I'm having a hard time being able to get good pictures of those crosses. My pictures don't come close to showing you guys how really beautiful those crosses are. And it's a shame because I have put some in my store, and the most recent ones that I did, I put in my store, and they haven't sold. I haven't sold any of them, and I'm not surprised because the pictures just are not coming out the way I want them to. They came out a little bit better this last time on those crosses, but I still haven't sold any, and I'm shocked. I'm just absolutely shocked. Well, I'm not shocked. I take that back. I said that before. I'm not shocked because the pictures are not great. But I am sad because you guys are not seeing what I get to see on these pieces because they're just gorgeous. This is another one I did on a bigger piece of wood. And this one says, I could never in 100 summers get tired of this. And it's a beach scene. Isn't that pretty? But that one didn't come out perfect, so I'm not going to sell this one. I'm just going to keep it. I put more resin over the top of it. There's no bubbles or anything now. Well, I see one. That was just a spot where I missed getting the resin in that little spot. But I think I'm going to keep that one and do something with it. So just for me, because it's definitely far from perfect. This is one that I did yesterday. And look at how cute that came out. And I added some rhinestones on it. Isn't that adorable? And this is just the wood. And then these ones I took and I painted them white. So I've got some white ones and I've got some wooden ones here that I'm using. So these are a couple that I did yesterday, and they came out absolutely gorgeous and perfect. No bubbles, no nothing. And I am super duper excited about these. So this is what we're going to make today, you guys. And what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to try, I have a few more of these left in the wood. And I think I might try to put a few into my boxes because I'm doing actually several more boxes. And I thought those would be something nice to put in the boxes along with images that can be placed in them. And you guys can have a little kit. I'll throw in a ball chain and you know, some stuff to make a completed piece. And I think you guys will really, really enjoy this, especially those of you who have started getting into the resin with me, because they really, really do come out so pretty. And you guys are going to have fun with this video, I think. We're going to get in sort of close here so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So, I have my little sticks here, my little cotton swab sticks. I have a jar that is a medicine jar. This is what I use to cut out my images because this jar fits perfectly into the whole space. Can you believe that? I mean, it's absolutely perfect fit. So I've got that so that I can cut my circles out. I've got my UV resin. I, of course, off to my right have my lamp here. And, oh, and I've got two of these in my lamp from yesterday that I worked on. This is one that I covered with a new layer of resin, and it's a little gnome. And this is one of the ones I did last year. So we'll put that aside. And this is one that I did just yesterday. And it says, "It's a Wonderful Life." I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies. So I had to do one. When I found that on Pinterest, I had to do one that said "It's a Wonderful Life." That would be pretty too, just to put like on the back of one of these, you know, as an added bonus. But right now, today, we're not going to do that. So I've already got some images cut out here, but I'm just going to show you real quick how I cut these images out, how I just decide, okay, what part of this image do I want to get, because it's obviously bigger than I can really use, and I wish I had shrunk this image down a little bit more, and I may do that. I may find or go on my computer and print out a couple of these that are smaller, so that I can get more of our girl in the circle. But that's okay. For now, we're just going to use this. I'm not going to be doing this particular one today, but I do have one already cut out here. So we're all set with that. But I'm just going to show you guys how I do this. So I just determine where I want it to be. Take my pen and go around the outside of this circle, being sure not to, or careful, I should say, not to lift the jar. And there I have my circle. And so when I cut it out right along the line, okay? Many times I tell you guys, cut things out inside the line. Well, this one, I'm going right along the line on these, and I didn't do that with all of the images that I have. But this is absolutely, I think, the best way, because then if I have to cut a little bit more off, I'm gently resizing my circle so that it exactly fits inside the little space on those keychains. So I'm just gonna cut that whole thing out. And then real quick, hold on, I'm gonna go grab something. Okay, and you guys, if you're hearing the thumping noise that's going on in my house, I apologize. I've got my dryer going, and for some reason it's making a thumping noise. It's sort of on its last leg. Okay, so this one, I really like the perfectness of this circle, so I'm actually going to try and just cut around this edge, remembering that I started right here. And I'm going to try and get inside that circle just enough and keep it round enough without any little pointy edges that pop out. That's what I hate about cutting circles. I am not the best at it. And honestly, I have a hole punch that would cut these out perfectly, but I can't find it. Oh, you know what? I think I see it. I'm going to have to, I think I see it. I'm going to have to pull that out and see if it's my 1 inch or 1.5 inch or whatever it is. I think this is maybe like 1.5 inch. So I'm going to pop that like that, and that is fitting perfectly. So instead of this one, which you can see, this one's a little off circle, this is the one we're going to use today. It's pretty, and it is fitting exactly into that circle. So these are some of the other little images I have, and they're so pretty. So we're going to do this one. I'm going to put our little bear aside, and these two from yesterday. I've got these little 3 bears. And I did take out my, what do you call it? My ink pad, so that I can ink around the edges of some of these. Now, I'm not going to do that on this one because it fits so perfectly in that circle, and that white on white looks beautiful. I'm not going to touch it. This one, I wish it was more perfect like that one, because I'd like for this to fit exactly in the circle too. Well, this one actually does fit pretty darn good. It just needs a little bit cut off around the edges. So we're going to go ahead and trim this just a tad. Trying to keep it in a circle. I feel like my hands are a little more steady today too than they were yesterday. Yesterday my hands were awfully shaky. I'm noticing that more and more lately. My hands have been getting very, very shaky. Kind of worries me just a little bit. There we go. That one fits nicely now. And we have our little bird, and I think our little bird is going to go into one of the dark wooden ones. So, what else do we have? We have our little angels. Got that one. Pretty. And that's another angel one in the wood. And we have a couple more of these butterflies. So, these are so easy to do, you guys. I've got my Mod Podge here, so you got to make sure you have your Mod Podge. And a brush. Let's see, let me get a brush that is somewhat soft here. We'll use this one. It's a small brush, but it'll work. So, first things first, I'm just going to go ahead and pour this right into my lid. And thanks to some of my beautiful subscribers, I have lots of Mod Podge now to do my my pieces. I got some from Robin, and I got some from Kareth. So thank you guys. I was completely out of Mod Podge, and I got told by the Dollar Tree that they stopped carrying it, and I was just really, really, really sad about that. I've been buying it there for years, and I was just really disappointed that they stopped carrying it. Okay, so we want to make sure that the top of this is centered with the circle. So make sure that when you do these, and I did get these discs on Amazon. So what I can do, if you guys are interested, I can also put the link to these discs in my description menu for you guys to be able to purchase your own if you want to get a bag of these, because they sell them in big bags and you get a whole bunch of them. And I want to say you also get the key rings, and I've got a bunch of them sitting here somewhere. Where did I put them? These are some that I already had. These are for something else, but I do have a couple there. But I have a bag of them sitting here somewhere, and I just moved a bunch of stuff out of my way, and of course, in doing that, I moved my bag of key rings, and I don't know where. I'll find them before we get to that point, so not a big deal. So I'm just pressing this down, and then I'm going to take, and I am going to brush the top of this with my Mod Podge, because I found that that's how we're going to get any bubbles, keep any bubbles from surfacing. Now, you don't want to continuously paint on these, because I do notice that the Mod Podge sort of does move the paint around. So I don't care for that. It's taking some of the pink off of here and moving it around. And I'm not thrilled about that at all. So in the whiter sections, it kind of bothers me that that pink kind of comes up through there, but that's okay. It's not so bad that you can really, you know, see a big difference, but so we've got that Mod Podged, and we are ready to move on to the next one. And let's see, let's go to our little bunny rabbit. I'm going to wipe this brush off because I'm certain that it has some pink in it. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing here. And let's just get a couple of these done, you guys, so that we're ready to just, when we get to the resin process, we're just ready to jump right on in there and do them all. And I've got it sitting straight in there. Make sure before you press it down too much, you get it straightened out, because you don't want it to be crooked in there, because once it gets down, it's not going to want to come out. You'll have to scrub it out, you know, get the Mod Podge to let go and actually just kind of scrub it to get it out of there. And this thing is, it takes a minute for it to start sticking to the bottom with this Mod Podge. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it's the glossy Mod Podge. I'm not sure. Because usually with the Mod Podge, it sticks right away and you're not getting it to move anywhere. So there we've got that. So we're going to very gently go over our bunny. And see, by doing this, I'm sealing the edges of the image so that it won't let any bubbles come up. And again, for some reason I'm getting pink that's coming out of this. I don't know what the deal is with the pink, but I'm wiping my brush off as I go here. And this is kind of why I did stop using Mod Podge over the tops of my images, because I noticed at one point it was causing things to sort of fade. And I don't want faded images on my stuff. So I figure if I'm using a light coat and once I resin over this, it should seal the colors in really well. So now, it might work well if I get the edges, if I put enough Mod Podge up to the edges of these, and I think we're going to try that on one of these. We'll try that on this one. I'm going to get it right up into those corners and see if maybe I do that and I can avoid putting the Mod Podge over the top of the image, if this will prevent it from getting the bubbles that I got in the other ones. So we're going to try that, and we're going to get it nice and pressed down here on all edges and get that Mod Podge to just kind of ooze up on it so that we have a nice puddle going around the edges of that image. And maybe if I just take and just sort of paint around the edges. And I'm just using the tip of the brush handle here to press these edges down. And I'm going to wipe my brush off and very gently just go over the Mod Podge that came up on the sides. And maybe if I use, I've got some toothpicks here and they've kind of got a flatter edge. Maybe if I use that and go around the edges here, that will help stick it completely down so that no bubbles can be released. Because you know this UV resin is going to cure really fast. So as long as it cures really fast, once it cures, those bubbles are not going to be able to be released because it'll all be hard and ready to go. So I'm just Putting a nice puddle around the edge of this one too. We're going to try it on this one too. And if this doesn't work, you guys, I'll see if I can find a way to get these out. But really, kind of once they're resined in, you're kind of stuck with it, because that resin is not easy. I mean, I've learned how to kind of break it up and get it out, but it's not easy. And so the pain of getting it out may not be worth it. Okay, so here's our little bears. And we're just gonna pop them in there, and I can see that Mod Podge just oozing up over the edges of that image. And this image, I do have it inked around the edges. I've already done that. I did take my ink out, but I think I've really already inked all of the ones that I want to have the ink on. I do see one edge here that is kind of sticking up, so I'm just going to kind of push it down. Because I can't pull it out now, so I'm just going to take these edges and I'm just sort of scraping them down into the inside there. And then I'm going to go around this edge, just like this. And then I'm going to take my toothpick and just slide it around, just like that. And this edge has a little bit that's sort of sticking up there too, so I'm going to push that down. Oh, it's actually not. That's just some ink, because I did ink the insides of some of these wooden ones as well, just so that the ink would match. If the cut wasn't straight on the circle, that the ink would match from the bottom of the wood piece to the image. And it did work out pretty well. Looks really good. Okay, so there's our little bears. And let's see. I've got this little bird one. I want to do this one too. Now this one I didn't ink on the inside. Let's see. Let's put this in this one. Because I just inked around the edges. It's not fancy or anything. I just inked around the edges and that was it. So let's go ahead and let's do this, just this one more. Getting that Mod Podge up on the edge. I'm not going to do all of these that I'm doing this way, because if I need to go back and Mod Podge the tops of them, I don't want to have these all done. I'm just going to do one of them. And that will tell me if I need to just go ahead and Mod Podge all of them. And again, I'm making sure my circle is at the top so that my images are going in there straight. So I make sure I check my lines, if there are any lines in the image, to make sure that they are going up and down. And this is just a little spot right here where the image kind of went up on the side just a tad. There's a spot right there. Okay, so there's that one. This one and this one we're going to leave off to the side for a minute. Okay, so hopefully I have been keeping these in in your view. You know what? Just because I'm not sure, we're going to do one more of these, and I'm going to make darn sure that it's in view. Because I'm not sure if I pulled it too close to me for you guys to see those last couple ones that I did. Because again, I forgot to look up at my camera and verify the location. So there's that one, and straight up and down. I think this one's going to be really pretty. And again, just going around these edges and pressing them down. Press, press, press. And this one I don't even need the toothpick because this is getting exactly where I need it to go. Maybe just right here in this little spot. Okay, you guys, let me wipe this off and put it aside. There we go. So I'm going to put my Mod Podge away, close it up. Okay, so we've got all these beautiful images. Now, this one, and this one. Let's see, this one too is only Mod Podged around the outer edge. These three, so these three I think are probably pretty much guaranteed to come out okay. Let's hope. And these three should be dry already. We're going to do the first one that we did here. I'm going to check my edges. And they look pretty good. So let's just go ahead. We're going to take our resin. And this works out really nice because you've got a lip to work with. The other thing that I am going to do is I am going to torch this on the top, but I'm going to try really hard not to torch it too much because you don't want to put too much fire on there because it will distort the UV resin. For some reason, I've noticed that when you torch the UV resin, if you do keep that heat on it too long, it wants to... it gets like wavy on top. So we don't want that. We don't want a weird wavy look. Although we can fix that. We kind of don't want it. So I'm going to try and get this to level out. I'm going to do this a little bit. I'm going to get my torch and hope that it lights. There we go. It's all lit up, and I'm just going to go a couple of little strikes across that, and I'm going to put this under my UV light for about 90 seconds, I think, is what we're going to do. And we are going to start on this one. Let's get these guys done, and that way the more I can get done now, the more you guys can see how they came out. So now I'm just kind of going to let it level out and get all the way to the edges without letting it go over the edges. Very important. And I'm kind of looking at the edges on these too just to see if they are bubbling, because the other one I could see like on the edge, the very edges is where it was bubbling. So I'm pretty sure that's because the edge was not sealed with the Mod Podge. So, and this I'm just poking this right around the edges here just to make sure it's all the way around. And not higher on one side than the others. I'm gonna take my torch never lights the first time. And that's all I'm doing, just a quick buzz over the top of that and 90 seconds under the light. And it looks like I got a little bubble on her dress right there. Oh, that's so frustrating. This one still looks pretty good. It's right where the flowers are. So what I may do is I may take a little rhinestone or something and put it in that spot on that one, because other than that, it looks beautiful. Oh, and our bunny. Bubbles. Alright, so now we're going to do this. We're going to take these bears and we're going to see what happens here. And we're not going to use this flame. We're just going to put the resin, and I'm going to very gently squeeze this so that no bubbles come out with the resin, because I'm obviously not getting this. So it doesn't have anything to do with not Mod Podging the top. So we will stop Mod Podging the top. So maybe what it is, maybe I'm putting too thick a layer on the first time. So we're going to put a very thin layer. And we're going to cure it. And this is what happens, you guys. This is how we learn. And because the ones that I did yesterday that came out nicely, I don't know what I did differently on those. Maybe I need to put it under the UV light a little less time. Maybe I need to do 30 seconds and then let it sit for a little bit and then do more time after that. I'm thinking that might have something to do with it. Maybe I'm putting it under the lamp too long. Not sure yet, you guys, but we're going to try and figure this out, and I'm going to try and get you guys an answer before this video is over. Okay, so that is completely covered. I do not see any bubbles in this at all. None. So I'm going to go 30 seconds and I'm going to watch it. And I have a little bubble popping up on that one. Oh, what is happening here? Nothing on this one. And these two are the ones that got them. I got nothing on this one. It came out absolutely perfect. And nothing on these two. These two came out perfect as well. So I'm not sure what the problem is here. And I don't know if there's a way for me to get up under that bubble somehow and get it out of there. It's not in a bad spot. It's right here. You guys can see where that bubble is, right there. I mean, it's still very cute, and the rest of it is in great shape. So, that is a real bummer. 3 out of 3 have got bubbles on them. Oh, you know what? Oh, no. I wonder if it's because that Mod Podge wasn't dry. I bet that's what I'm doing, you guys. I bet I'm not getting the Mod Podge dry before I am doing these. And these sat around for a while yesterday. These 3 sat for a while before I actually resined them. I'll bet that's it, you guys. So this one and this one and this one are Mod Podged. So this one, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try something even different, more different. I'm going to put resin on the bottom of this, not use the Mod Podge. I'm just going to use some resin. I'm just going to put a thin layer. The problem is that UV light can't get through the paper. So my fear is that this resin will not cure. But my rebuttal to that is I've done paper butterflies and they've come out beautifully. So we're going to give this a shot. And I'm going to lay this butterfly right on top of that resin and I'm going to let it kind of soak in. Get any bubbles out. Kind of press them out to the sides. This might be my key right here. And then I'm going to put resin over the top of this. Don't want to put too much. And actually I want my little cotton swab here. And we're just going to slide the resin over, and then I can turn it to get it in the right, turned in the right direction. So let's keep our fingers crossed, you guys, and hope that maybe this will be my answer. And that's about how I want that one to sit. And I'm going to look at it and see if there are any bubbles popping up anywhere. There was a bubble. But I only saw one. Okay, what do you think, you guys? Is it going to work? I do want to. Oh, now I see some bubbles. And I'm just kind of sliding the cotton tip across the top of this a little bit to see if I can push any bubbles that might be in there out. There's one teeny spot right here where I keep seeing bubbles popping out. Right there. And it's odd that it's just, they're popping out of that one little spot there. That's very odd that they're not coming up in other spots. All right, you guys, well, we're gonna give this a go. Now I see in different spots where they are popping through. It's like they're coming up through the paper. So I'm wondering if I just let this kind of soak in here and set here. And maybe it will stop bubbling, and then I can put it under the light. So here's what we're going to do, you guys. I'm going to let this set for about 5 minutes. And we're going to see what happens as far as bubbling. And then I can torch the top of it. And we will give it a shot from there. I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, so we got it. This is the one I just did with the resin underneath and the resin over the top. I let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then I put it under the lamp, and I added one more layer of resin over the top of it. I did shoot it with my torch for a second, and I put it back under the lamp for 1.5 minutes, and we got perfection. So it's not Mod Podge that works. So with these, I think that's okay. We're going to save these, and we're going to do this one with that image. And we're going to, let's see, these are, and we're going to do this one. Okay. So then we've got, we'll do our other angels in this one. Dropped it. Got a towel on my head, you guys, so I bonked my head on my table here. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put resin in all of these, even the ones that I Mod Podged, and we're going to let them sit. I'm going to put it underneath these ones that I have not Mod Podged down. And I'm going to say that even with the ones that we did use the Mod Podge in, as long as that resin soaks through the paper, that's where our key is. We've got to let it soak through and get those bubbles out from underneath the image. And with a layer underneath and a layer on top, those bubbles can, the resin's going to soak through the paper, and in doing so, because there were bubbles on top of it when, after I let it sit, there were definitely bubbles, and so I just went through and used my torch over the tops of those bubbles, and they came right out. And I torched it. I think I did it twice. I looked at it to make sure there were no more bubbles coming up, and I did it one more time just for safekeeping. And it worked, you guys. So we're just going to go for it with these. We're going to go ahead and get them done, and hopefully they're going to be perfect. And I do want just a thin layer underneath I'm going to spread that around, all the way around to the edges. And we're going to pop her in there. Just like that. And we'll pop some layers, some resin over the top. And that way it's soaking into that paper from both sides. And I'm putting enough resin on this to cover the image, but I am leaving enough space that I can put one more layer of resin over the top, and that way if for some reason the little tiny bubbles pop up in this, it's not going to be a big deal because I'm going to put another layer of resin over the top and those bubbles will disappear. So that's kind of where we're going to go with this, you guys. I just wish I had a level table. I really, really do, because this table is not made for doing resin. Because resin follows the path of least resistance. And in doing so, it wants to go whichever direction is pointing down more. And so then I end up with stuff that's got more resin on one side than the other. And it makes me very unhappy because we want these to come out nicely. And we're going to do the same thing with this one, although this one does have Mod Podge. Okay, so these three have Mod Podge on them. So I can't get the resin up underneath, but I can put it on the top, and we'll just see how that works with it just going over the top and just soaking through the paper down into the bottom. I think it'll probably do the same thing. It may take a little longer, but then again it may not because it's going down instead of having to come up through the paper. So we've got a nice little layer of resin there. We're going to push it all the way around. And again, we're going to let this set and let any bubbles come up that want to come up through this. Okay. And I'm just going to use this to try and get it more level. And another one. I think we've got it, you guys. You know, sometimes I hope you don't mind me bringing my mistakes to the video, but you know, for me, I feel like if I don't ever show you guys the mistakes that I make, how am I going to prevent you from making those mistakes? I'm not going to make something and do it wrong, and just because maybe the camera's not picking it up, you guys don't see it, because then when you go to do it, it's not going to come out right, and you're going to say, Carol, that didn't work. Why did it work for you and it didn't work for me? Well, I'd be telling you a lie if I said that it actually did work for me, because it didn't. Because I didn't show you bubbles or oopses, you know, and that's not okay in my book anyway. I don't think it's okay. So for me, I just feel better if I show you guys my mistakes so that you are learning not only how to do something correctly, but how to not do something incorrectly. And this is our last one. And I really want to see if I can figure out a way to get up under those ones that have the bubbles in them. Get into those bubbles and get some resin into those pockets and save those pieces because they're so pretty and I hate to waste them because I think I can save them. And that is one good thing about resin is there's, you know, many things you can cover with resin because you can get the resin back into whatever is sort of messed up. I mean, if you take something and it goes completely wrong around the outside of it and you sand it, you can recover the damage in that piece. You can recover it. You absolutely can. And it'll work every time if you know what you're doing and you know how to make that happen. And see, I can see bubbles coming up through these a little bit. That's okay because that's what we want it to do right now. We want it to let that air out. I'm just kind of popping a couple of them. This one's really beautiful. I really love this bird. And I honestly can't see. There's one bubble that I see popping up, teeny tiny bubble. Sometimes these bubbles are really tough to get rid of. It's not a matter of you just poke it and it pops. Some of them are very stubborn. So you just have to work with them a little bit and sometimes you have to pull them over to the edges. And see, this one's getting the bubbles at the edges right here. So I'm just going to keep my eyes on him. And this one looks real good. This one looks good. This one looks good. And this one just has this one spot where it's wanting to bring some bubbles up, but that's not too bad. And this one has a couple of spots here that are popping up bubbles, but we're going to let that resin get all the way into that paper. So I'll be right back, you guys. Let's see what happens here. Oh, I guess I should move you guys back a little bit so you can see. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them here that we're working on. Be right back. Okay, you guys, so now's the moment of truth. We are going to torch these, get any bubbles that might be sitting on the top off, and we're going to pop them under the lamp. Now this one here, it still has bubbles popping out right there. I'm trying to look on all these other ones. I don't see, this one's one that's already done. I don't see any more bubbles popping up. Just that one. So I'm going to take our bird and this butterfly and the angels. I guess I should make sure these are turned the right way, right? Yep, they are. And our girl, and these guys are going to get the UV treatment. So they're up under that light. I'm going to put them in for 90 seconds. This one I'm going to keep working on those little bubbles here in that little corner. And we're going to let those stop appearing before we put it under the lamp. So as long as I see those bubbles popping up in that little spot, I'm going to let that one just soak up more of the resin. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed and saying a little prayer that the rest of these are going to be ready to go. This torch is not the greatest. Every time I put that flame down, another bubble pops up. So we're just going to let that one sit. And so I forgot to read an inspirational quote, you guys. I didn't do that, did I? Let's see if I can find one real quick, because I know I could use one today. I can use one every day. Okay. Let's see. Hopefully we can find a quick one here. Let's see. Here's a good one. I really love this. It says, "What we know matters, but who we are matters more." You guys, that is so true. So true. In my life, I can honestly say I agree with that 100%. Here's another one. "The willingness to show up changes us. It makes us a little braver each time." Now, how many of us don't want to show up for something because we're nervous about it, or we don't know the people that are going to be there, or it's not our crowd or something, and we just think, oh my gosh, I don't want to go because it's not going to be a good thing. Okay? Number one, good. Number two, good. Yay! I'm so excited, you guys. Number three, we have one tiny little divot here, but I'm going to fix that by putting some resin over the top of it. And there's a no-go. This one still had bubbles coming out right there. And so it messed it up. That is such a bummer. And that is why I'm not putting this one in there. I didn't see that there were bubbles coming out of that one. This one still has bubbles coming up, so it's not going anywhere. So what we're going to do with these is we are going to put one more layer over the top here, just a thin layer. And we will try and get it to dome up at the edges. And by doming, I mean so that it's sort of rounded along the edge, so that it doesn't go over the edge, but it covers the edge. I have to get under my light here so I can see actually where it's running to. It's hard to see it once it's been covered with resin already. This edge. It's kind of fun to watch it go to the edges. And then I'll just take my little stick and touch it in any of the spots that look like they didn't quite get to the edge, but it almost looks like I got it perfectly to these edges. It looks really, really good. I have one tiny little spot here where I see it kind of went over a little bit. So I'm just going to push it back, and I'm going to pop her under the light again. 30 seconds is what I'm giving her for that layer. And if I need to put her in there longer, I will. And all of these will probably go back under the light for a period of time, because I feel like I like to get the resin really, really good and cured. And I kind of do that at the last minute. I'll pop them all under there and put them under there for about 1.5 minutes so that I know it's good and hard and ready to go. And there, I got it over the edge a little bit. And that doesn't make me real happy, but that's okay, because I'm going to take this and I'm just going to go along that edge of that lip on this thing. I'm going to get a little bit of resin around the whole thing. So that that ledge is just shiny. Oh, and then I went and let it go over the edge. Here's what I did, you guys. I put too much resin on here. So let me just get over to my towel here. And I'm just going to wipe around the outside. And this is where we tend to make our little messes. That can be kind of a bummer to try and clean up. Not that we can't do it, it just, the problem is you're cleaning it up on one side and then it spills over the other side. So you're just kind of going back and forth until you get it all covered and you're good to go. Okay, so I've got that all cleaned up, and I'm popping the little angels under the light. And here's our girl. She is all set and ready. Isn't she gorgeous? Look at that, you guys. She came out absolutely perfect. You can see the top of that is domed, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Let's get our little bird. And this time we're not going to put too much resin on here, because we just saw what happens when you do that, and we're just going to let it run to the edges like we did in the first one. Okay. And now it's thinning out a little bit, so it's running a little bit slower, which is kind of good in some ways. In other ways, what happens is it'll sometimes spread out, and it'll get to one part of that edge faster than another part, and that's when it wants to fall over the edge. So I'm being very, very careful about how I'm doing this. I don't know if you guys can see it going to that edge. Like right here, it's like right there. And sometimes it's this last little corner that'll do you in. There we go. And I think I got it over all the edges. And real quick with the torch. And right here I see one spot that needs a little pulling, coaxing to the edge. Okay. So our little bird's going under the light now for 30 seconds, and there's our angels, and they are gorgeous. So that's ready. And this one still, we have bubbles, but it looks like the bubbles have slowed down a bit. But we still have them coming out, so I'm not going to let it go under the light quite yet. This one I'm very sad about, that I got that big, you can see a big bubble in that one right up here. Big bubble. And I don't know, the way that I will try to rectify that is, let me see here. You guys, I'm going to go get a paper towel. I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, we're still... Come on, flame. Still working on the bubbles in this guy here. But I'm going to show you what I just did, because I'm curious. You can see on this one, I dug out that section where that bubble was, and you can see it's kind of scratched up and everything because I dug it out using my nippers. I just got in there and I just picked it out, and then I took my sandpaper and went over the edges to get it flat on top and kind of get the edges sanded a little bit on the inside there. And that's what it looks like. It looks terrible, but we're going to give this a shot. We're going to take some resin. This is just a let's see what happens kind of deal. We're going to pour some resin in there. Get it into the hole. And I'm going to put a layer that just kind of covers the whole thing. It's covering all those sanding marks. I've got a little bit of sanding marks on the wood too, but that's okay. I can easily fix that. With a little bit of paint, it'll be good as new. Okay, so I covered that up, and you can see it actually looks pretty darn good. And it's even over the top. I just have a couple of spots here where I need to kind of get to the edge a little bit better. But we're going to pull it to the edges here. And it's just soaked down to that paper, and I'm going to let it soak in for a minute just to get into that paper real good so that the paper looks, you know, the same as the rest of the paper. But I don't see any bubbles coming up there at all. So I've got it up under there and everything looks beautiful. Let's see if I need to pop a few just general bubbles out of there, and we're going to pop that under that UV light, and we're going to see what happens. Our little bird came out gorgeous, and this one I'm seeing fewer bubbles, so I think this one is about to be ready to go under the lamp, but it's still, I'm not quite ready. I need to give it just a little bit more time, but it's cool that we've got several here. I'm gonna do a little bit of what I just did with the other one, and I'm gonna dig this bubble out on this bunny. Oh, and I can see where the resin underneath this, because this one didn't sit under the lamp very long. But I can see that it's wanting to lift all the way, all the way across. That just jabbed my finger. That was not good. But see, this one isn't digging out the way the other one did. It's not opening up. But I've got to get it to open up if I want to get resin up under there to fill in the gap. Because this was the one, I actually pulled this one out right away because I saw that bubble forming and I pulled it out before it got cured. So that's what happened, now that I think about it. I remember I didn't even give this one a chance to sit. I'm going to pop it under the lamp for a minute. And there is our other butterfly. And it actually came out pretty good, but you can see right there, you can see a spot where it's just down below the other resin. And I think if I put one more coat of resin over this, it's all going to level out. And it's going to look like one cohesive design. Pretty sure this is going to do the trick. Now, will I sell this one? No. Because I just don't feel like it's a piece to sell. Will I maybe give it to somebody or whatever, you know? Yeah, I might do that. I have a lot of random pieces that I keep with me. Just to do random acts of kindness. So maybe I'll just keep this with me and put a little key ring on it and somehow pretty much cover up that one little spot, and I'll show you how I can do that very easily. Just this thing just is a pain. Okay, so let's pop it under the lamp. And this one, I got it lifted all the way back under that rabbit, so I don't think there's going to be any saving this one at all. I don't know if I can save this one either. But she just has that one tiny little bubble, and I'm trying to think, you know, I think I do have a way to save this one. And I just have to find it. I just realized one of my doohickeys dumped over today. And it had all my little bits and pieces, but this is one way that I can absolutely save this one, and I can actually sell it. You guys, I keep getting confused today. Today is time change day, and so I was an hour ahead of myself. Went to take Jeff his medicine, and he says, "Oh, it's not time yet." I was trying to be nice and get it to him so he wouldn't have to come in and get it himself, and he says, "It's only 2 o'clock. Whoopsies. I thought it was 3. So I'm a little off today. But what I can do is I can put this little love thing right over that. And I also have this little heart with a cherub angel in it, but that kind of doesn't feel like it goes. The love feels like it goes. Or I have a little teeny tiny butterfly. That could go there. Kind of doesn't go, it doesn't feel like that's the right spot for that. I have one of these. Doesn't really fit, but the love fits. I like it, and that's the only spot that I had to cover on this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a dot of resin right there, just like that. And we're going to put that over the top. And I'm going to take my little paper towel here and wipe that little dot of resin off right there. And we're going to pop her under the light. And that way I don't lose that piece. And she looks very good. So this one, it's got issues, but look what I can do. I've got this. I can pop that right up there. And nobody will ever see that little bubble that's at the top. It looks clean everywhere else. So that one is perfecto. Well, it's not perfect, but it looks like it is. And I like it with that in there. Or I could take, I've got so many different little things that I can use. I could take this and pop that in at the top. Just like that. That looks really pretty. I've got a bunch of these different little rhinestone pieces that my friend Robin sent me. And they're awesome. Do this one. This one's a different color. That looks pretty. But I want to see what this one looks like. I've got so many of these. Maybe if I do it that way. So I could do that one, and I could do one at the bottom, or I could do maybe, those don't match. It's hard to find two matching ones because these are just all over the place on my tabletop here. But I could take and put one at the top and one at the bottom. And that looks very pretty. Or I could take and put, you know, a couple of these. Mind you, these are not all the same, you guys. I'm not saying these three. But I could take, you know, and do a little design at the top just like that, and it would be gorgeous. Or the other thing that I have that would work is I've got some of my little corner pieces. I know I've got some teeny tiny ones here. One of these. Look at that. That would work perfectly. Or maybe if I put it not that way, no. Well, no, it doesn't quite work because, let me see, I think I've got another one right here. I just want to see something real quick. If I was to put one at the top and one at the bottom. Kind of like that. That looks pretty. Or I could do the big ones. have them meet in the middle. Do something like that. I don't know. I don't think I care for that one too much, but I think honestly the one I like best is not those. Oh, I've got these too. These are very pretty. It's just got a stone in it. Let me see. I don't know if I have more of these right handy here. I've got a couple of different ones, but like I said, this thing just kind of dumped and went all over the place, so everything is kind of scattered. Okay, so here we've got two clear ones, and I could do something like that. No, that doesn't work for me. Nope. I kind of liked the single one, honestly, if I'm being honest. I kind of liked having that right there. And maybe, let's see, or maybe a pink one. I've got a pink one here, just because I've got pink flowers right here. Something like that. That looks very, very pretty. Just kind of fills that whole spot in and really, really makes that look gorgeous. I mean, I can get these all together the way they need to be, but I'm just doing this without having anything to stick them together. So that would be very pretty. And this is a done piece. It looks great. There's nothing wrong with it. There is nothing to say that I couldn't sell this piece, because that that bubble in the middle has been completely covered. So it looks gorgeous. So okay, here's where we are. This is going away. This one looks like it is just about done bubbling. So we're going to give it a shot here, and we're going to put it under this light and hope it cures fast enough to not get any more bubbles. And there's our girl with the luff. There's our other girl. She is all set. And that looks really kind of pretty over the side. Or that could hang off of there and it could look like a C. You know, you could make that a charm. Yeah, too big. So, that is what we've got, you guys. I think this one's got a little bit of a bubble, but I'm not going to worry about it because I've got an idea for that, and this is going to work perfectly. And I can still I can still salvage this one enough to sell it. And I'll show you why. Just letting it finish curing. These are all going to be just beautiful, and I think I might try and find a little something, just a little something, to dress each one up and make it just look that much more beautiful. Okay, so this one is done. And what you can see here is I do need to put one more coat of resin over the top of it. But you can see right here I do have a little bit of a bubble, which is where those bubbles were coming up. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put another layer of resin over the top here because it does need it. It needs that dome layer. And I'm just going to go around the edge here, try and get it all even. And we just have that little bubble. No worries, because I've got the cure for that. Let me get my fire out. Okay, put them under the light. And in the meantime, let's see. This one would be very pretty with that little green flower just over the top. Just like that. Nothing more, nothing less is needed on this one. I want to keep this one fairly simple. I'm going to put resin under that. Drop it on there. Make sure it's centered. And pop it under our UV light. She's already got hers on there. And then one of the things that I wanted to try and do with one of these is I thought this would be so pretty around. See, some of these are broken though. That just irks me when you get one that's broken like that because you cannot use that section. So that takes that whole section away from me. For this anyway. I can use those, I'll still use those pieces for something else, but I was thinking how pretty would it be to have some of this going around the outside edge of one of these. Now my problem is figuring out how to get it stuck on there, and that is not the easiest of tasks to where it's going to stay on there and stay the way you want it. Now if I could resin it on, it'd be great because it would stay right there. Resining this to this is not going to be an easy task for me. So I don't know that that is the best solution. But it comes to the point where it comes together, it comes to just the right point where two of them are going to meet. So it's the perfect size, and just look how pretty that looks around the outside of that. It looks gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So, or I could take it and I could resin it on there, I suppose, and just take it and resin it to the inner thing. I need to put the hole right there in between, or kind of maybe start it here and stop it right before that circle, I guess, when I get around the edge. I'm going to see where it would stop at. That is not going to be an easy task either, and it will stop at just the right point. I don't know though, I just think that's going to be way too difficult for me to do. I've got some of this, which is what I used on my little teddy bear over here. I don't know where I put him, right here. I love these rhinestones because they're all different colors. They're like in different lights. They all look different colors. And I think this one came out gorgeous. I could use some of this maybe like on here. And I'll tell you what, this is not easy to do either, to get this to sit just right on the top of this because of those little X's. It wants to fall over. But that looks really pretty with this one. I'm going to try and gather this around here and see if I can find the end where I need to cut it without cutting it too short, and we're going to cut it right there. And I'm also going to, what did I do with it? I don't know what I just did with the flower that I was going to put on it. I thought it was a green one. No, I used that on the angels. Okay, yeah, it was this one. So if I have that on there, and those rhinestones, look how pretty. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. And then for, I don't know. I've got some of my beautiful, beautiful chain that Robin sent me. And this would be pretty going around the edge. There, like that, except that it's got the dangles that go all around it. And I don't know how they'll hang, and I can't test it because I can't hold it up. But that's really pretty. And I think it would be pretty going around the edges, even with it hanging down. I think it would be very pretty. But look at that. So should we try it, you guys? Let's see. Let me get this all the way around. See where I gotta cut it. We're gonna take a chance. And of course it got caught on something, so I pulled it. So if I take it to right about there, take some resin, and we're going to just run resin all around this edge, and there's no turning back now, you guys. I've made the choice. And I'm hoping that I'm right and this is going to look really, really nice. I hope I'm right. Okay. Ooh, I almost went down in the hole. So, the thing of it is, I need to move some of this stuff out of the way. Because the deal is, I'm going to have to get this on here, and I probably should have done half and half, now that I think of it. Because this is not going to stay where I want it to stay, I don't think. We're going to try. I mean, I'm kind of committed now. And the resin is sort of helping it to lay there and stick to the wood. Look at that. Look at that, you guys. figure out why it's lifted up right there. I don't get it. Oh, because of course I picked a piece where it's got a big old bump in it. Well, that stinks. So now I gotta try all over again, and then look what I did. I went over the top of it with the chain that has been sitting in resin. Oh, have mercy. That's okay. We're gonna do this, you guys. It's gonna work. It's gonna be okay. Okay. So I think we've got it. And we're going to take our light and we're going to carry it over here and we're going to just set it over the top of that and put it on for a little bit, for 2 minutes. I'll be right back, you guys. Okay, so out from under the lamp we come, and that's what it looks like. It looks very pretty. I had to cut off some of the dangles up towards the top because they just didn't look right sitting there. So what we're going to do now, and I'm keeping this lid right here, is we're going to take and put some resin right here and right here, and we're going to set that on top of those rhinestones, and we're going to pop this one back under the lamp for just a short time to get that set. 30 seconds ought to cover me. And I did actually put some rhinestones around the edges of this one. And I think it looks very, very pretty, and I've got the little flowers on it as well. This one had no blemishes on it, and I'm sorry I did that without you guys. I did also put the love on this one, and this is the one that did have the bubbles right here. You can't see a thing, and this piece is sellable because everything else about this piece is perfect and has no flaws in it. So that one is absolutely one that I can put in my shop and sell. So far, this is what we've got. And of course, we've got the old ones that I did a while back. These are the ones that I still have to do. And let's see, these do not have any bubbles or blemishes or anything. This one still does. Not sure what I'm going to do about this one yet. We've got this one that's perfect. And this is the one that we covered up the blemishes there. And really, to fix that is an easy fix. All I need is something to put in that spot. And this is a good piece to actually to be able to sell. So I think what I'm going to do is, I really kind of like that piece in there. I know I was testing a bunch of other ones, but I actually like the size of this piece because it will cover up that entire spot that had the bubble under it that I went ahead and cut into. So I'm gonna make sure that's exactly where I want it, and I'm gonna pop that one under the light for 30 seconds and let it do its thing. Okay, so in order to get these rhinestones around the outside, I've got this piece cut. I don't know which one is the one I cut for for putting around it. So it doesn't matter. We're going to put this around, let's see, do we want it on our little bird? Or do we want to take just some regular rhinestones? I do have this chain here. We could put some regular rhinestones around that, and that'll be pretty too. Looks nice with the bird. I think these will look nice on the white ones, the clear rhinestones. I love these rhinestones that change colors though. I think they look really, really pretty, and they do actually look very pretty with the dark color of the wood keychains. So, but you notice I have to stop when I get to that circle in the middle, because I definitely do not want to cover up that circle, because then I can't get anything in there to be able to turn it into a keychain or whatever I decide to do with it. So the way that I'm doing this is, I'm going to put this one aside because we've already seen one of those done. So I'm going to do this one. Let's see, this one might be better with just plain rhinestones on it too. But I need to get one of these put together for you guys so that you can see what they look like finished with the key ring on it and everything, or with just maybe just a piece of what do you call it? Might put a little rhinestone like right in here somewhere, just because. What do you call it? I can't think of it. Oh my goodness. Now I've lost my train of thought. That looks pretty on there too. I might add that to it as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some resin just around the outside of this, just like we did the dangle chain. And we're going to keep it as close to that centerpiece as we can, and try not to get it running too much between those little X's that are etched into this wood, because we don't want it to be drizzling all through there. So I'm just going right up to the circle and stopping. So this should go on fairly easily and sit right on top here. I gotta make sure I don't turn my rhinestones the wrong way and get them laying in that resin. There we go. See how easy that was? Much, much, much easier when you're just using a rhinestone chain that doesn't have a bunch of other stuff on it. Much, much easier. And it looks beautiful. I'm also going to add this little rhinestone right. I'm going to put a dot of resin right there, because I don't want to get too much of it on this spot. So I'm just going to dot a little bit on there. Dot it right there, and then I'll wipe that off of my parchment paper. And that will sit right there above the love. So let's pop that under the light for 30 seconds. And we've got her done. She's ready to go, and you can see there is a space right here where my whatchamacallit, my jump ring can go, or let's see. You know, I've moved everything around so much on here. Now I've got stuff everywhere, you guys. So let's see. I've got my pliers. And we're going to take, I don't know how easy this one is going to go because of this being there, but we're going to give it a shot. I have my open jump ring. And I'm going to see how easy this is going to go through there and up and through. Now if I can just hold on to it and pull these two bits together, we will be happy campers. And you can see this is very, very tight on there. There's not a lot of space between that jump ring and this piece. So, but we've got it on there. We're good. It met together and everything. It's having a family meeting. I'm gonna pinch that just a little bit. And then I'm gonna take, let's see, what are we gonna use? I think we're just gonna take a piece of ball chain and pop it on there. And for this one, I've got one of my thin pieces of ball chain. I am in the process of ordering more of this super thin ball chain. That's my favorite. And this is, I believe it's 1.5 millimeter. I have to check. Anyway, that's what I'm ordering. I hope I'm right. Let's see. I think I need to squeeze that together just a little bit more to make more of an opening at the top here, because it's not wanting to slide through there very easily. Now I got it to go on my other one real easily. Oopsies. I think what it is I'm not able to push it up because I can't get a hold of it on both sides to push it up far enough. And if I can just get it to hold there, it should go right through there. Man, yesterday I had no trouble with this. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now to hold on to it so I can pull it through. There we go. And I do want to turn that a little bit. And here we go. There we go. And there we have it, you guys. A beautiful, beautiful hanging piece. And you could put this on your rear view mirror. You could put it on a key ring. This is another one that is on a ball chain. This one, let's see what we want to do with this one. I think this one we're going to put on one of these lovely key rings if we can. Oh, I've got one large ring here, jump ring. I do not have any large jump rings, you guys. I had to search and search for this one. So I'm hoping this one will work. I don't know. That's a thick, thick, thick key ring. I'm going to somehow have to get it. I don't even know. I don't think that's going to work. I think I need to get one of my other key rings. Here we go. We've got this. We're going to put it on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hook that on the side. I need to get some more of these smaller key ring things, key fobs. Key fobs? That's not a key fob. Key rings. I like these lobster ones. And there we go. We've got a little keychain. Isn't that pretty? And look at how perfect that those images came out. The shine, the nice line that you get across that. That means your resin leveled out perfectly. So now I've just got these other ones, you guys, but I'm not going to bore you with the details and try and do these for you right now. I'm just going to do these off camera. I will take pictures of them and have them at the end of the video so that you guys can see what they look like. These other ones, I may try and find ways to fix them up and make them right. This one is a lost cause. I already know that. This one is perfect, so this one's going to go get done as well. So, yeah, I've got plenty of them that I can finish up and get pictures of for you guys, and I will do that ASAP after I'm finished with our video here. And that one's ready too. And we'll get on it. So anyway, you guys, thanks for watching my video today. I hope you really enjoyed this. Let me show you what our finished ones look like. There's one. There's número dos. And número tres. And this one, I actually have a thing on the bottom of it so that I can hang a dangle off of it. I just don't know. I don't think I have a dangle that I can put on it like right this second. Maybe I could put one of these on there. I've got some dangles right here. This one would be cute. Let me see if I can get this one off of here and pop it on there. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Okay. Okay. So this is just a little dangle charm that I made a long time ago. I don't know that it's going to stay on this one, but for now, just so that you guys can get an idea of how easy it is to dress them up and add just one more element of coolness. That's a little dangle glass heart, and it looks adorable on there. So there's that one. And that's it, you guys. That's all there is to it. These were a lot of fun to make, and I'm going to be, I've got a bag that has a few more of these in it. I'm going to be putting these, some of these into boxes that I make up. I've got like 5 boxes that are getting made up. What I will do is maybe either stick a finished one in there, because we've got all these cute finished ones that we could put in there. And I've got all the makings to finish them up. So maybe we'll do that and put a finished one or two in one of those boxes that I'm making up. So it might be a kit to make one, or it might be a finished one. Who knows? I'm going to put those on one of those. I think that looks very, very pretty. But anyway, thanks a lot, you guys, for watching. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and stay safe, stay well, love your family, love yourself first, and take care of yourself first, because you can't take care of anybody else if you don't take care of you. But tell your family you love them every day if you can. Give them hugs and kisses, and you know what? Who cares if they get a little embarrassed? They're going to remember that later on, and they're going to go, gosh, I'm glad my mom hugged me and told me she loved me all the time. Right? I hope my kids will. Anyway, my kids are old enough to be doing that already. I don't know if they do or not, but we'll see. I'll probably have to wait till I'm gone and watching over them to see if they say anything like that. That'd be my guess anyway. So, all right, you guys. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless you all. And I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned for pictures on the back end. Bye-bye.